即係你唔使100% 跟足佢嘅，但亦都唔好當咗佢係一個議論文，一個 argumentative essay 咁樣寫。咁咧就係話你有啲緊要嘅元素，譬如話個 opening、introduction 啊，佢係一個 greetings 啦，呢個啦自己睇啦嚇，我唔再講多次啦。第二咧就俾個 definition，點解咧？因為咧通常拗嘢咧就話你要講清楚你個背景係，sorry，你個定義係乜嘢？明唔明啊？你個定義喺邊度啊？咁我個字點拗？OK，譬如話fresh graduate 係揾唔到工嘅，咁譬如咁講，你個 fresh graduate 你個定義喺邊度？明唔明啊？因為你定義一唔同嘅話，你拗嘅嘢就唔同咗噶啦，咁樣啊。咁亦都講清楚自己個 team 嗰個 standpoint 嗰個覺得個 statement 係要講清楚個 stance 喺邊度，係咁樣。咁跟住啦，嗱呢個 team split 咧，呢個就我覺得喺真係你喺寫作文就 optional 咯。因為實情你冇咁多 team，如果假設你再分埋 team 嘅時候咧，係好複雜嘅。Okay? 你會寫到好複雜，搞到佢睇嗰人都睇得一頭煙，因為其實佢都當你講真咧，其實佢都當你一個 argumentative 咁去睇嘅啫。但係你有個樣咁就得㗎啦，咁樣啊，所以就最好唔好寫落去啦。我驚你會亂嗰頭啊。咁咧跟住就係話啦，你就將你個 argument 先 present 出嚟啦，一點一點咁樣，然後就因為記住佢係 meant to be heard 嘅，咁即係咪咩？即係你要聽翻嚟嘅，你要咁樣嘅，所以嗰啲叫做 signposting，呢種叫 signposting 啊。I am going to discuss 幾多個 points，幾多個 points 啊？My first point is 咁，你大概有翻呢啲咧，就俾人好 feel 到你係一個debate speech 得唔得？咁樣就有呢類有翻咁樣嘅頭尾中間少少就得噶啦。OK，咁呢個就大嘅方面，唔使100% 跟足，因為我哋唔係真係 debate speech，唔係真係乜嘢。你寫足嗰頭，反而我會令到嗰個marker 覺得好 confused，明唔明啊？咁樣好啦，跟住啦，題目咧，上次我講呢個題目啦，呢個題目咧幾 challenging 啊嚇，因為啲學生就咩啊，咁咧就係嗱，You are a member of the school debating club. Now your club is entering a debating contest, and the motion is all freshmen should attend the orientation camp held by their university. 所有人應該要出席嘅。OK 啊，佢大學搞嗰個 O camp 一定應該要出席。OK，你覺得你係 for 啊定係 against 個 motion？然後將成個 debate speech 寫出嚟咁樣啊。最後呢個 the members with the best speeches will be chosen to represent the school the competitions。OK 咁樣啦。咁嗱我一陣我轉頭我有兩篇咧，一篇係個 support 嘅，一篇係反對嘅，咁會寫出嚟。咁但係我想問翻咧，上次唔喺度嘅同學，你會點睇先？阿 Michelle，你贊唔贊成啊？
我贊成。
贊成，但係點解咧？你覺得點解？
係。
阿 Michelle 傻咗我，你上堂喺度，我記錯你個係咯，我發咗傻妹，對唔住對唔住，我又撈亂咗。阿 Edison，
咁贊唔贊成？咁其實都贊成嘅。咁因為咁首先我覺得你 attend 個 orientation camp 其實可以去幫你去識到好多朋友啦。咁同埋我覺得 orientation camp 除咗識朋友之外，佢另一個 function 可能就係你某啲嘅 faculty，可能嗰啲 orientation camp 係可以俾你認識下嗰個 faculty 入面嘅唔同嘅 facilities 啦，或者佢啲唔同嘅 buildings 啦，有啲唔同嘅 lab 咁樣，你可以參觀下你個學校嗰個環境啦。咁所以其實對 freshman 嚟講，orientation camp 就係可以令到佢哋更加期待或者認識多啲佢遲啲嚟緊嘅school life in university 啦。咁我會 argue，唔係即係我覺得你 argue 一樣嘢就係話 orientation camp 係 held by their university 啦。咁其實呢個講得好清楚係 held by university 啦。咁近日嗰啲 orientation camp 就講得好嚴重嗰啲，即係好多事發生嗰啲，其實真係 held by 唔係由 university 去揸主意咧，係由嗰啲叫咩？即係由嗰啲呢啲師兄師姐嚟揸主意。咁所以其實個問題相對上冇咁大啦，因為佢講到明啊嘛，係由 university 嗰啲嘅高層去搞嘅。咁所以嗰方面嘅問題就相對上會細啲，就係咁。
OK，幾好啊。OK，一陣我個 sample 都有呢樣嘢嘅。好啦，我想問埋阿 Nicole，你覺得咧？你會邊邊？
我係 against。
係 against 點解咧？
因為我覺得大學應該係自由度要高啲，即係俾學生有機會去選擇 應唔應該去參加個 O Camp？即係
嗯
如果要強制所有新生去參加，其實啲人會覺得即係可能自己唔俾間學校尊重自己嘅意見，即係可能
嗯
就會冇咁中意間學校，同埋有即係大家對於 O Camp 嘅睇法都唔一樣。即係你有啲人會覺得 O Camp 係可能可以令到自己嘅 school life 可能豐富啲，或者有啲人攞嚟
嗯
去認識間學校，但係有啲人會覺得個 O Camp 其實冇乜重要，所以就唔想去參加，咁唔應該去強迫所有人去參加。
嗯，OK，都幾 OK，即係幾清晰嘅呢個 point 就幾好啊。阿 Susanna，你點啊？你覺得點啊？
我本身係 opposite 啫，咁不過咧睇翻
嗯
其實個題目佢唔係話強制要你參加，其實 should 同埋 must 係兩回
嗯
事係嘛？同
係
埋就係
呢個就係
佢其實
definition 咯，
主要係話
呢個就係我哋拗個 definition 嘅問題咯。你繼續啊，繼續係。
係咯，即係同埋話如果係 held by university，但係一般嚟講其實 O Camp 其實多數係 students organizations
係
搞噶嘛，又或者
係
係個 faculty 嗰啲。
係
係咯，嗰啲人搞，所以呢個又會造成咗一個分別。不過我
係
本身係諗住話 opposite，就係因為佢嘅目的係在於為咗等人識朋友啊，
嗯
結交朋友。如果唔係，可能去到入到去會俾人孤立之類。但係我就要反駁我話，唔需要透過呢種途徑去識朋友，加埋過往嘅事件入面有好多 O Camp 都會搞得好過分之類。
嗯。係，OK，咁係啊，咁不過就要我哋要寫成篇嘢嘅時候，記住啦，嗱，我哋諗考試嘅時候諗 points 咧，真係諗好少少先啦。你可能有 point 要，譬如頭先我咁樣問同學，你已經出啲幾好嘅 points 啊，但係個問題點樣組織出嚟？點樣一層一層咁推出嚟？即係我個比喻就好似咁樣，即係等於你譬如好似你而家睇嗰啲電影，哇，好好睇嘅戲，好正嘅戲，你出嚟背後嗰個 plot 啊，其實都好簡單嘅啫嘛。你真係將佢深入佢係嘛？哦，呢個好人，佢跟住啦，本來生活好正常嘅。跟住佢遇到個問題，有個奸人出咗嚟，跟住之後咧，佢點樣可以打敗呢個奸人？跟住就成為終於可以過翻平淡嘅生活啦。其實個 plot 全部都類似咁啫嘛，係嘛？當然可以有悲劇收場，咁有另一個 plot，咁亦都係悲劇。咁即係我想講個背後嗰樣嘢好簡單，但係你點樣可以鋪排出嚟？哇，好精彩一套戲，同一道理你篇文，哇，好精彩啊！將你好精彩嘅意思就等於你去一個 talk，個 talk 嗰人可以帶到你。好似去咗第二度咁樣，明唔明我意思啊？就係咁啦。好，咁我開始咧同你講翻先嚇，咁咧就係講翻嗰邊嘢先。咁咧就我 send 翻俾你哋啊。嗱，我喺 Zoom 嗰度 send 出嚟，有冇人需要我 WhatsApp？有冇同學？有同 WhatsApp 你可以 WhatsApp 話俾我聽啊。有冇同學？OK，呢份。我暫時見唔到啊，我宣佈啊。咁咧嗱，好啦，咁我開始講啦。Debate on this topic, all freshmen should attend the orientation camp held 係打錯字啊 by the universities. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I am the first speaker of the affirmative side. Speaking for today's motion, all freshmen should attend the orientation camp held by their universities. I am going to prove you today's motion must stand. 咁幾咩下啦嚇。But as mentioned by our captain, OK，OK，等等啊，你同我要啊，等我一陣先，要嗰份嘢，等等先啊。好，send 咗。好啦，跟住啦，嗱，as mentioned by our captain, orientation camp or O camp is useful, vital, and unique for every single university grad freshman. Now let me elaborate a bit more. In all universities in Hong Kong, all camps are run to let students know more about their campus. First faculty，嗱 faculty 嘅意思即係指嗰啲教大學嗰啲成員啊，即係譬如你學系裏邊啲教授嗰啲啊，faculty，我全名叫 faculty members 嘅。OK，咁譬如 faculty of science 啊，faculty of arts 啊，咁就呢個啦，文學院，OK，商學院嗰類啦。The syllabus and people who they will encounter and so on. Apparently, all the things make up their upcoming university life. All camps are useful, aren't they? Now, even the negative side cannot deny this fact. 咁啊，呢個你講咗你個立場先，同埋講即係 focus 喺嗰佢 define 一啲嘢度啦。跟住啦，我就推出一個 rebuttal. The negative side proposed that orientation day may be useful, but it is not vital. At least not vital enough to make it become compulsory. Yet, everyone, that we are going to prove that OCAM is extremely important, especially to the social development of students. Now, it provides the opportunity for students to foster basic social skills. Now, students can get acquainted 即係熟悉咁解啊 acquainted with each other in advance 預先啊 OK of the semester starts。但喺個 sem 開始之前咧，我哋可以識咗啲人，即係唔到去到學校，到時上第一堂，大家戇居居咁，唔知邊個打邊個咁樣噶啦。Now this can ease their messy life a bit. Now when their university lives really get started. Now firstly, OCAM is an excellent venue for students to achieve things together with future schoolmates. Now, for instance, through tough games in groups, in this process, you can get to know each other easily. Second, OCAM is excellent common memory for students to share among themselves. It helps building up morale 係個士氣and helps maintain morale and friendship in the long run. 咁呢個第二個啦，佢講呢兩個 point 啦。嗱，跟住有個 example 啦。嗱 ，take myself as an example. Our class made the flag together during the all day。嗱，先講下佢呢個背景，呢個係以前係 A level 啲文嚟嘅。咁嗰陣時背景咧，呢批咧學生咧，佢係中六先入去嘅，全部都係中六先入去嘅，冇人識大家嘅。呢個學生寫嗰篇文，大家唔識大家嘅，所以佢就會寫呢句嘢出嚟啦。Our class made the flag together during the all day, with the imprints of hands of every 6th year. I didn't. I feel awkward when I look at the flag, as I am not part of the icon of our class. Now, whenever they talk about the all day, I have nothing to share. I regret so much that I missed all day. It is obvious that OCAM allows students to foster basic social links. The negative side said that some students do not really need social links. For instance, now those extreme smart ones who are dedicating their whole life in laboratories. Now, is this statement true? We do not think so. Now, we should allow different people to develop in different ways and shouldn't force them. That is what the captain of the negative side held. 佢講到好似即係真係 quote 翻人哋講嘢咁樣啊。However, I'm afraid that the opposite side has neglected one very important point. What are universities? And what's the purpose of its existence? That from the Latin original form of the word university, we can have a hint. It means a community of masters and scholars. Okay, it's a community. In a community, the whole thing is not about putting separated individuals in a place, is it? Now, I agree that some students may not be that kind of social animal, 唔係咁社會性㗎啦，嗰啲人啊。They are purely scholars. However, universities is a community of these kinds of masters and scholars to communicate. No one in this community can say, I don't need communications. Okay, and it is believed that OCAM indeed is the first step of communication with other university students 啊。你去到大學真係見到好多人嘅。嗰陣時我記得我住宿舍嘅時候見到一個，哇，好犀利嗰個人。佢咧一到做，佢係讀緊 PhD 嘅，佢去到做論文嘅時候咧，佢係可以廢寢忘餐到成個人浸咗落去嘅。點到咧？你係 physically 睇到佢嘅，佢連扣樓行出嚟都扣錯嘅。扣出3樓，但係得一個好勁寫個半嘢出嚟，就佢個 PhD 嗰份論文咧個厚度啊，幾犀利啊！跟住就你好啲人係啦，咁但係唔代表佢哋唔需要溝通噶嘛。咁你要從呢個角度睇啱嘅。The mass media 跟住開始啦，有啲 講去 address 人哋嗰啲 negative 嗰啲嘢。The mass media has reported some negative examples of O-camps nowadays. The negative side see it as a huge reason to support their argument. Okay, now what I want to address you is that those bad examples are simply the minority. Now, besides, our side is to favor those O-camps run by universities. 呢個頭先我同學去 focus 呢樣嘢講噶啦 ，not solely by seniors. Now, thus the worry of the negative side is non-existent，即係話冇啊 ，OK 唔存在嘅。我而家講係大 O， 即係入面講大 O 定細 O 啊。Now, on our second speaker will further prove to you this viewpoint of the negative side is totally a misunderstanding. Okay, now in conclusion, O-camp is useful. O-camp is vital. It provides useful social links before university's life starts. University is a commodity. It's all about communication. O-camp is a crucial event preparing students, every kind of students, for their university journey. It is the way university fosters communication and links among students. Now, all students should attend it as a part of the community. Today, all freshmen should attend the orientation camp held by the university must stand. Thank you. 咁你去到最尾咧，最後咧，你要俾個好強嘅信息俾人，就話你去 reiterate 你嗰個 point， 明唔明啊？你個 stance 咁樣咯。咁呢篇嘢咁啊，佢拗就 OK 啊，可以咁拗，咁啊，即係咪合理就你再睇啦，你自己再 judge 啦。呢個第一篇。好啦，咁第二篇啦，睇第二篇咯，個方向有啲唔同嘅嚇，嗰個 flow 都感覺唔同嘅。Debate on the hot topic. Okay, all freshmen should attend the orientation camp held by the university. Good afternoon, chairperson, principal, teachers, and fellow students. Now, we are speaking strongly against today's motion. All freshmen should attend the orientation camp held by the universities. That is to say, it is not definitely better for every student in the first year at a university to join the orientation camp, which is sad. Now, which is sad 呢個嘢好犀利啊！據說喎 which is sad, to help students get familiarized with the school and make new friends, organized by the universities. 咁樣啦。Now, there are two very powerful reasons why you should oppose this motion. Each one is good enough to win the argument on its own. 哇，幾犀利啊！兩個 argument， 每個自己都夠照噶啦。我咁嘅意思啦。But when they are combined, they are overwhelming. 或者係 invincible 都得嘅嚇。Now, firstly, it's not definite that every student who has joined the orientation camp can make a lot of new friends and has no interpersonal problems in his or her life. 唔係個個都冇問題㗎。講真，我都有 join O camp 都，我 join O camp 你係識啲朋友，識咗啲人啦。但係 turn out 你後尾到你成個生涯裏邊咧，你熟嘅朋友咧，其實唔係 O camp 裏邊識嘅。OK， 咁你去到好得意，去到 O camp 識嗰啲人，反而好似後尾咁啱，你可能入到課室嘅時候，你唔係坐埋一齊第一堂嘅時候，第一個 course， 你就 turn out 就可能唔係㗎。咁你坐埋一齊，可能你大學好興係咁樣同你講，你讀到大學，你明年你就知㗎啦。係咪明年啊？今年你就知㗎啦。咁你跟住你入到去嘅時候，你好多時啲 course 都要求你做一啲 group project 啊、presentation 啊，你第一堂就安排㗎啦。所以你突然間你坐埋嗰堆人啦 ，OK。就好快你就會大家 group 埋一齊㗎啦，所以咧你到時坐位小心啲啊，揀人坐啊，你唔好坐喺啲騎呢人隔離啊，你唔係你同佢同一組嘅時候你就冇運行啊，但係呢啲就叫大家讀大學嘅要識嘅嘢啊。好啦，咁啊跟住咧就係睇下先啊，嗱睇先啦，嗱usually the orientation camps held by the universities in Hong Kong only lasted for a few days。咁係喎 ，OK 嚇，你去大概譬如我住堅尼地城，咁嗰陣時見到咁一到8月咧，就突然間個個着晒，哇！成堆啲學生着晒一件 T 恤，某一系列嘅 T 恤跑嚟跑去咁樣，或者上去嗰啲街市嘅熟食中心，就成堆人坐喺度食飯咁樣嘅。Now, compared to the whole university life, which is 3 or 4 years long, now several days are extremely short. True, OK， 你記住好似同人傾偈咁樣㗎，真嘅冇錯，真係咩啊？If the students do not join the orientation camp, they will have fewer topics to talk about with their new classmates. OK, but this problem will not last long. In fact, how well a student getting along with friends doesn't mainly depend on if he or she has attended the orientation camp. It depends on the student's amicability, honesty, and respect towards their friends 咁樣，即係有啲人係天生係好乞人憎嘅，咁你去到邊度都唔會有朋友㗎，係咪咁即會有啲咁嘅人，咁有啲人就佢係就係好多時係好容易可以吸到一班朋友嘅，咁就睇你係 O 唔 OK 啦。I bet no one would doubt that. If a student can have all these three elements, even though he has not attended the orientation camp, I'm sure that he can have a lot of good friends in the university. Also, a lot of my friends who are university students now told me that the friends they know in the orientation camp are not their close friends now. OK， 呢個咪我自己 example 咯。It is because most of the friends they knew in the camp study other courses and live in different halls. 你都住唔同 hall， 你住唔同層數，咁已經唔同噶啦。Now after the orientation camp, these people will separate and they will probably not have the chance to get in touch with in the future. 唔係噶咯，最多喺 canteen 見到，喂 hello 咁樣就係咁啦。冇啦 ，OK 咁樣。Therefore, if a student attends the orientation camp only because he wants to get new friends, it's not likely for him to succeed. Okay, as one of the major functions of the orientation camp, assisting the participants to get new friends is ineffective. Not all freshmen should force themselves to attend the orientation camp held by the universities if they are not willing. 咁樣啦，咁你就好清晰記住頭尾再 reiterate 翻你嗰個 point，等個讀者聽清楚，尤其是係 speech。點解 speech 緊要咧？等於我哋跟住下半堂會係 focus 喺 speaking 啊。咁咧點解 speech 緊要咧？你唔好諗住，即係有啲人咧係咧，譬如話好似 SBA 咁樣講啊。SBA 咧，咁佢咧就會有啲即係相對能力低啲嘅學生咧，就會預先寫晒成篇嘢出嚟嘅。然後就會俾我改完之後咧就讀，跟住我已經提佢啦。我話你呢篇嘢咧，如果作為篇 essay， 作為篇 article 就 OK， 但係作為你到時講出嚟就唔 OK， 因為講出嚟嘅時候咧，你記住好簡單啦，各位同學，你自己上堂聽書啊，你聽到幾多成啊？係嘛？你有陣時會 miss 咗嘢㗎，所以你聽嘅時候咧，你要好清晰有啲 signposting 話俾人睇㗎。開頭個 topic sentence 好清晰，甚至好似頭先我嗰個 debate speech format 啦，我今日會講3個 points，OK 咁我係負責第一個 points， 而第一個 points 到我講嘅時候，我有3個 arguments， 譬如咁樣講，咁來明唔明啊？咁樣好清晰咁一層一層咁話俾人聽，咁就係你聽歌就會好容易，即係好似揸住個 Google Map 咁去跟啊。個原因係咁樣。Secondly，the participant cannot learn anything useful in the orientation camp 都係真嘅。頭先阿 Edison 你講嗰啲嘢咧，其實唔係好多時有嘅咋。理論上有嘅啫。Moreover, now there may be some negative effects on the physical and mental self， 可能會影響你身心嘅健康嘅。Now, in the orientation camps, the participants spend most of their time playing tricks on other people or being made fun of. Rarely do they spend time on knowing more about their courses. 你想知道啲 courses 啊 ，sorry 咯，自己上網睇啦。Now, the arrangements now probably violate the initial functions of orientation camp. Now, if we check the word orientation in the dictionary, it refers to a meeting or a series of events at which introductory information or training is provided to somebody embarking on something new, such as a course or study 啦。咁即係你 orientation 就係咁咯。你要做一啲新嘅嘢新嘅嘢未必一定係 camp 㗎。譬如你新嘅 staff 新嘅員嗰類嘢都係一個 orientation 嘅一種㗎。咁跟住咧就係 how can the camp still be called orientation camp if the participant can learn nothing？你學唔到嘢嘅，咁點樣叫 orientation 咧 ？OK， now even if the participants do not care if they can learn something useful, it is sure that they do not want to be tormented， 唔想俾人哋去折磨mentally and physically， 真係㗎。就算而家可以唔好話 O camp 啊，你譬如讀 Hong Kong U 咧，你住某啲 hall 咧，入邊咧有啲入邊即係有啲係即係又要成組人，就算你住緊 hall 又要逼你搞啲 hall 嘅活動啊。又要幾點起身啊？幾點要去有咩活動啊？你唔跟嘅話咧，你就俾人排擠啊！都有啲我見過，我聽過有啲舊生係要退 hall， 佢頂唔順，就住到 hall 都係咁樣啊，喺 Hong Kong U 啊咁樣，咁啊所以就都幾咩咁，喂大佬我去讀書喎嚇，跟住啦nothing. Okay, even if the participants do not care if they can learn something useful, it is sure that they do not want to be tormented mentally and physically 係啦，咁即係一步一步咁樣去拗啊。就算我知你唔係話哇，你唔係咁有大義凜然去學要學嘢啦，咁你都唔想俾人折磨啊，係咪先？嗱，in the orientation camp, the freshmen have to do the task from dawn to dusk, even overnight, without any rests. Now, moreover, if they lose the game, they will be punished in the form of being shot with a water gun or other form of mild physical suffering, like happy corner 呢個嘢好香港嘅嘢嚟㗎啊，咁啊唔知就你可以問下同學咩叫 happy corner 啦。Even if the participants do not want to receive those punishments, the others will ignore the voice and still carry out the penalties. Now, for example, there is a video clip on YouTube showing that some male students in the UST, okay, were playing happy corner game and other games with unhealthy intention, 即係不良意識啦。Now, these games will bring negative effects on both the mental health and physical health of the participants 啊。咁我都係嗰陣時聽過啦，喺連登見過啦，飲杯 City U 定係科大，我唔記得邊間啦，是但一間嘅。咁咧就係飲杯嗰啲凍檸茶，你飲完吐翻落去，第二個就再飲一啖吐翻落去，第三個去到最後輸咗嗰個要成杯飲晒佢。OK， 有幾恐怖啊！跟住啦。If one hates this style of games, he should not attend the orientation camp. Otherwise, he will be extremely bored, as he has to stay at this silly atmosphere of unhealthy intention for many days. OK， 尤其是女同學咯，咁樣嘅女同俾人抽水嗰啲聽過啦嚇。This is certainly a waste of time. Now, therefore, not all freshmen should attend the orientation camp held by their universities. Now, these are our main arguments. I hope you will agree that they are utterly 即係 utterly for 啲唔係好 sure 嘅同學，即係極度嘅 utterly convincing, and not all freshmen should attend the orientation camp held by their universities. Thank you。咁佢呢個 focus 咧，第二篇嘅 focus 咧就 focus 就係佢就好明顯最大個個 idea 就擺咗喺邊度咧？擺咗嗰啲即係嗰啲不良遊戲嗰度啦。咁咧佢就忽略咗係個咩咧？就係話個大 O 同細 O 嘅問題啦。即係大 O 即係譬如果假設你 faculty 有搞嘅，即係正常咪 faculty，即係佢正式去揾人搞嘅，同嗰啲學生自己搞嘅 O Camp 就係不同嘅。你去到就好多 O Camp 俾你揀嘅，到時嗱你自己就諗清楚啦，你揀咩啦？不過咧就係啦，我上堂都講過啦。如果你睇翻就係話嗱，我相信啲同學會好中意搞啲活動嘅。不過咧就我個即係嗱搞係 up to a point 咯。真係認真講提定你先咯。因為我都話見過好，即係包括我自己個細路啊，OK 都係好中意搞 O Camp 㗎。咁咧結果咧就都去到佢佢就讀到當年讀到收 warning letter， 讀到點樣咧？即係話佢個 GPA 太低。哇！我心諗有冇搞錯啊？咩事啊你？咁所以咧就即係嗱，我上堂講嗰個例子啦，我即係個前學生個例子啦，讀到就俾人踢出校啦。我今次同你講個細佬啦，你諗清楚上莊但當然你可以繼續上，但係就始終同埋而家嗱，我好老實講，而家搞大學嘅活動係有個危險性喺度嘅因為香港而家個環境同前幾年係唔同咗嘅，咁所以都要注意呢樣嘢咯咁樣。好，咁呢個兩篇得唔得？咁咧就呢兩篇你都見到入邊有個 speech 嘅，即係 debate speech 嘅嗰個 element 喺入邊嘅，但係就兩篇個側重點唔同。第二篇相對似argumentative啲，但係你最緊要有開頭、結尾、中間少少有就得㗎啦。第一篇就多少少，係咪真係 first speaker 嗰啲佢就講，第二篇就少啲。好唔 OK？咁就係咁樣㗎。咁我可以鼓勵你可以寫出嚟，得唔得？記住而家1月去到中下旬㗎啦，今日20號啦唔係好耐考試㗎啦寫多啲文俾我同埋咧就你記住，即係有啲同學去到突然間3月先嚟醒㗎，死啦！突然間3月點算啊？OK， 唔該你唔好去到3月先點算啊？得唔得？有冇問題？
我想問咧，其實呢啲 debate speech 嗰個 formal 嘅程度係到幾，即係有幾 formal 咧？同埋有冇一個特定嘅對象嘅咧？即係可唔可以話 U 乜嘢之類，即係特別指向
個對象咪就係個評審團咯，同埋個在場嘅人咯。 assume 啊，你 assume 你去嗰啲，你試下你上網你打 debate speech 咯，你睇 YouTube 啊，佢在場有啲人聽緊你講嘢噶嘛。咁當然個最大個 focus 就係會評你嗰啲人啦，明唔明啊？你個最緊要個 focus，因為嗰啲人俾分你噶嘛。呢個就係個 debate speech 嗰個最緊要嘅嘢咯。個 assume 總之係現場觀眾 support
但係
以學校
副 Sir，
係點
我嘅身份係 first speaker、second speaker 定
up to
係乜
you
嘢？即係
up to you
即係我可以揀
係你可以
係一個
自己揀
opening 定係一
係
個中間嘅喎。咁
係
因為你知，如果我係 first speaker 嘅話，我就咁
係
講得㗎嘛。但係如果你喺一個 formal 嘅 debate 嗰度，如果你係 second speaker 嘅話，你可能要做少少 rebuttal 咁樣之類嗰啲
喂
嘢，即係
就係我
因為你
想我想
assume 咗對面個 first speaker 講嘅少少嘢，咁你未必要全部回應晒，你可能要選擇
喂
性回應
阿
下。
Edison，我就想同你講，唔好太過介意呢啲嘢。你過分諗過龍咧，結果會將你嗰啲嘢分心去搞咗其他嘢，其實冇乜必要嘅。明唔明我意思啊？即係我驚你搞過龍嗰啲嘢咧，因為呢個唔係佢唔係真係想你整到成個話好似一個 debate 要俾人個好真嘅感覺出嚟。你大概輕輕 touch upon 嗰啲 elements 就得㗎啦。你唔好真係諗到太複雜，明唔明我意思？你諗到太複雜，又諗第一個 speaker 應該講咩？第二個我作為第三個嘅時候，我到時我要擺啲咩 point？係呢個你講緊係個真嘅 debate，但係你唔係嘛而家？明唔明啊？你最緊要將你諗嗰啲 point 有效地 deliver 出嚟啊嘛，明唔明我意思啊？你唔好嘥太多 energy 喺頭先嗰度，有啲甚至 ignore 咗就得噶，你當冇 speaker 存在去處理都得，好唔 OK？當你係唯一一個 speaker 都得唔好搞到咁煩當然你見頭先第一篇咧係大概輕輕大個嘅啫，好唔 OK？你類似當第一篇攞去做參考，你唔好諗複雜個頭，唔係搞到你篇嘢複雜個頭。同埋我想同你講，你要留意而家嗰啲 markers。OK，我再講多次，好多真係做名校嗰啲，做 Band One 學校嗰啲老師唔得閒去做 markers 嘅去做 markers 嗰啲咧，好往往咧可能係 Band Two 或者係 Band Three 學校嗰啲老師嚟嘅。我唔覺得嗰啲學校會教 debate speech 咯，亦都我唔覺得嗰啲學校會搞 debate speech 咯，搞 debate 咯，明唔明我意思啊？debate 一定係 Band One A 嗰啲學校先會搞噶啦，其他唔使諗噶啦，debate 啫。唔使諗嗰啲，咁所以就呢個現實係咁咯，唔好搞咁多，就大概得噶啦，明唔明我意思啊？我驚你頭先你諗得太複雜嘛，你諗咗當個真嘅 debate 就
唔係，我驚係格式上面嘅嘢。咁如果你而家咁講，我當佢一篇正常嘅 argumentative 咁樣寫咪得咯。
但係有頭尾呢啲，即
係即
係有呢啲，
係加翻一兩句係 Good
係啦
morning
係啦
嗰啲，係。
係啦，就可以俾埋個 definition 都得，就俾人個感覺哇好 pro 喎，明唔明啊？但係我覺得，所以頭先我一開頭講呢啲 team split 就唔需要啦。明唔明啊？OK 可以
OK
有
OK。
rebuttal，可以有 rebuttal，明唔明啊？你當話頭先個 first speaker 咁，你咪喺呢度咪帶出嚟咯，明唔明啊？喺呢
因為
度帶
你寫 argumentative，你都可以寫 rebuttal 嘅嘛，即係純
係啦係啦
粹講個
係。
相反方向
不過
嘅點。
不過呢度個 rebuttal 就講清楚頭先對方就咁講，the affirmative speaker 咧就提出呢樣嘢，你可以照寫呢個咯。咪帶啲 element，即係等於我話做 data file 咧，你話你即係個 introduction conclusion，我話你唔好太諗太多，你有呢樣嘢就得㗎啦，個意思係一樣咯，明唔明啊？
OK
阿
OK。
阿 Stan 答唔答到啲問題？
同埋就係嗰個
係，
formal係其實唔係啲用字唔係真係好需要 formal，
唔係
即
你當係
係佢同 essay 嘅分別係在於佢係 speech 嚟嘅，所以係
你當係 formal 程度差唔多，不過你要嗰啲叫做 signposting，你要講清楚你嗰段嘅 function，就唔好直接講個 point，你講清楚啦。佢話 this my first idea is my second 咁樣，你講清楚啲先。呢個係要加呢啲嘢，其他其實差唔多嘅啫，明唔明啊？其實你當佢一個argumentative 處理，不過個 format 有啲唔同，都係 formal。你啲人出嚟，你見啲人出嚟 debate 唔會講到好 casual 㗎，係嘛？OK，早幾年都仲有搞嘅，而家我唔知今年有冇搞啦。係啊，再咁樣咁即係都係一個 formal 嘅情況咯，唔係一個 casual 嘅情況㗎。
好
嗯，好，有冇其他問題？咁咧就其實喺 DSE 裏邊咧，間唔時隔一兩年都會有，隔兩三年咧，唔係一兩年咧，會間唔時個 debating 個題會有 debate speech 嘅咁所以就可以即係咁樣，即係有啲人一見到 debate speech 就唔夠膽寫啦，其實就唔需要唔夠膽寫嘅，其實都係咁拗啫。 OK，咁頭先我見同學咧，你諗出嚟啲 point 都幾好嘅。咁即係有啲同學嗱，我以往試過有啲班係咁樣㗎，因為佢冇人有大學經驗啊，即係我都知你未讀大學，咁但係問題就亦都好似冇聽過咁樣，跟住就完全諗唔到 point，唔知佢話阿 Sir 其實我唔知咩叫 Ocam 喎，咁即係如果考試咁你就唔好答啲題啦。如果你對嗰樣嘢係零 ideas 嘅話，得唔得？OK，好，咁咧就我想跟住做個呢個 speaking 啦。咁咧就嗱，我有最新嗰份卷啊，等等啊，DSE 03年嗰份，有冇人學校 practice 過03年嗰份啊？呢個 OK，我頭先唔係揀呢度，我先揀1.2。好，呢個嗱，我第一份想做呢個先，我相信幾多 idea 講嘅呢個嗰個呢個嗱，每日咧，我想提你啊，其實咧 speaking 咧，每一日咧係3份卷嘅。嗱，佢點解會3份卷咧？佢要 make sure，因為咧，譬如5點鐘第一輪，到時5點鐘第一輪去考嘅。5點鐘第一輪去考嘅時候咧，你入咗去嘅考生，到佢考完出翻嚟嘅時候，佢會遇到你到你走嘅時候，你會見到有考生繼續嚟嘅，因為考到8點嘅，明唔明啊？即係話你到你出去嘅時候，你唔可以遇到一個考生入嚟嘅時候係咁啱，大家會考同一個 topic 嘅。即係你可以同佢講，喂，頭先咧考 family mart 啊。係啊，我考嗰條啊，哎呀，咁唔會跟住佢入去嗰個可以係考可以咁樣嘅，明唔明啊？即係佢出咗嚟嘅時候，應該 suppose 係溝通唔到噶啦，就唔會有啊。所以每晚有3份，就通常一份考2組人嘅個情況咁，一份考2組人嘅咁樣，咁所以就有咁樣每日都有咁樣去咯。咁咧就咁1.2我就 send 俾你先你等我一陣啊。嗱，今日咧我睇先啦。有5位同學，所以經過 discussion 咧，我哋就會10分鐘，得唔得？咁咧就嗱，你爭取講多少少嘢。真係我係咪要 WhatsApp send 俾你？
係嘅，唔就係因為個電
唔緊要嘅，OK，
腦嘅
冇問題，冇問題，
原理。
冇問題。因為啲人用 iPad 或者咩嘅話就冇噶啦，就好難 download 噶啦。跟住 OK，嗱，我再提一提你先，記住呢個 topic 咧，一開始咧，你嗰個10分鐘個 preparation 咧，有樣嘢好緊要做係咩咧？第一樣嘢就係講翻呢個先，睇翻有啲咩 discuss 先。3樣嘢，第二樣三樣嘢究竟係咩嚟嘅？然後每一樣嘢咧，每一個 item 咧，做2樣嘢。第一就喺上面嗰篇 text 嗰度揾翻相關嘅 point 出嚟。OK，第二樣嘢咧要做嘅咧就喺每一條 question 啫，除咗揾相關嘅 point 咧，再諗你自己嘅 ideas。到時你講嘅時候咧，有你自己嘅 ideas 加唔係，sorry，有入邊個 text 加埋自己嘅 ideas，兩樣嘢要做到。OK，咁另外咧就記住要回應人講嘢，回應人講嘢，同埋咧去到最尾同埋你唔好得個寫字。OK，但我啲人係咁喪寫冇意思嘅，寫完最緊要做呢一個係咩啊？rehearsal，同埋要 rehearse 再去到埋尾嘅時候咧，差唔多10分鐘完嘅時候咧，你 rehearse 一次咧就係話我如果萬一做第一個嘅時候，我點講？我做第一個到冇人出聲嘅時候，你係第一個嘅時候。嗱，考試真嘅考試就唔會冇人出聲嘅。我見咁多年一組半組人啦，但係如果嗰一組半組人大家冇人咁出聲咧，嗰組就通常好唔掂噶啦。明唔明啊？正常就冇人會去真嘅考試就唔會嘅。咁但係好似我哋呢咁嘅 situation 就可能會啲人唔出聲，但係你就預備。總之，萬一係我自己講嘅時候，我會點樣開頭？唔好到你突然間叫做突然間嗰樣嘢掟咗俾你嘅時候咧，咁跟住之後咧又死啦！我突然間開始開到啦啦咔咔咁樣咯。即係你有一個心理準備，你要做開頭嗰個講好少少得唔得啊？咁樣咁所以就係主要係咁樣得唔得？咁嚟到我俾10分鐘你咯。得嘅話，真可以開鏡頭。OK，你唔中意都冇所謂，up to you 10分鐘 ，you have 10 minutes for your preparation starting now。 Don't forget to rehearse. OK，好，同學，咁咧就10分鐘，10 minutes. If you want, you can turn on your camera so that it is better for me to know to know your facial expression. Okay. So the discussion time will be 10 minutes. Discussion time. Ten minutes, right? Okay. So are you ready? You have 10 minutes. 10 minutes for your discussion, starting now.
Good morning, everyone. As we have been assigned to do a project on the entertainment industry, I think we can put more focus about the increasing popularity of movie streaming services such as Netflix or Disney Plus and how it impacts on cinemas. To kickstart with the conversation, I think discussing whether going to cinemas is a popular pastime in Hong Kong should be our first topic. So in my opinion, I think going to cinemas is still a popular pastime in Hong Kong, although the statistics have suggested that fewer and fewer people are going to cinema indeed. I still think that the experience that watching a movie in the cinema is incomparable to watching a movie alone yourself at home on the television or using your tablets or computers, as the experience provided by the big screen of the cinema, especially with the new technologies such as 3D streaming or even IMAX, is very unique from watching a movie on streaming apps. In my personal experience, I've watched a few movies such as the very popular movie Oppenheimer in IMAX IMAX theaters, which the sound effects and the experience provided is very unique. And I don't think that watching movie on streaming apps can provide these experience. So, and furthermore, I think the downfall of cinema can be contributed the to the decrease in quality of movies, which is not essentially related to the cinema itself. So going to cinema is still a popular pastime in Hong Kong. What are your thoughts?
I do agree with you that it is a popular pastime because maybe like couples they would like going dating in the cinemas, and during festivals like Halloween or Christmas or Chinese New Year, people like going to the cinema for like an atmosphere and maybe a gathering time with their friends and family. And me personally, as a student, I always go to cinema after exams, maybe just to kill time or somehow. But it's actually just a very relaxing event for me to like go to a cinema and just quietly view a movie. What's your opinions?
Yeah, sure, right. I also agree that going to cinema is a great activity to kill time. Also, sometimes I'll gather with my classmates to watch a movie in cinema, not only because we'd like to enjoy the movie, but sometimes we just want to we just want to share some good group experiences. That's why I think the experience of watching movies in the cinema is irreplaceable because it is a social activity. Moreover, some effects that can be provided by the cinema, just like sound effects and some visual effects, it is hard to have that experience in your home. For example, some 3D sound effects and some even providing settings with vibrating functions to intimate the explosion scenes in the movie, so that it is a very important experiences provided by the cinema, and you can't have that at home when watching Netflix.
Yes, I do agree that going to cinema is a really popular pastime in Hong Kong nowadays, as apart from those sound effects or a good location of gathering in the cinema, also accompanied by the Hong Kong government's Happy Hong Kong campaign, at Wednesday there is really cheap cinema tickets. So there's a lot of people going to cinema in Wednesday. So there's a large demand for cinemas actually in Hong Kong, and people really enjoy going cinema for kill time or spare time with their families or friends.
I do think that going to cinemas for movies are relaxing as well as having a good experience. However, I do not think that it is a popular pastime in Hong Kong because with the advanced technology as well as the rise of pandemic, the streaming services has actually increases. Nowadays, cinemas have limited choices of movies, while those streaming platforms like Netflix or Disney Plus have thousands of movies and TV shows for us to watch. Also, there are some original content on the streaming services which we may not be able to watch it or experience it when we are enjoying the movie in cinemas. What's more, streaming platforms allow us to pause or to open a new movies to watch whenever we want to, but cinemas do not allow us to do so. Therefore, I do not think that cinemas is a popular pastime in Hong Kong nowadays.
I think we have all contributed to a very fruitful conversation about whether going to cinema is a popular pastime in Hong Kong. So let's move on to the next topic. What cinemas can do to compete with movie streaming services? In my opinion, besides this discounts or some special services like IMAX or using 3D technologies, cinemas can cooperate with movie producers that the movie producers will not release their shows on streaming apps such as Netflix or Disney Plus for like a year or two, or maybe just half a year before the movie has ended streaming on cinemas. So the only way for people to watch the movie immediately the only option will be going to cinema instead of watching those movies on Netflix or Disney Plus. A good example will be anime producers in Japan. They have agreed with this. They have made some agreement with cinemas that the movies they released will not be streamed on Netflix or Disney Plus, those apps, not until that the movie has been streamed in cinemas for half a year. So this can ensure that the cinema can keep their competitiveness while allowing viewers to choose whether they want to watch the movie in cinema or on streaming apps themselves. So what are your thoughts?
I may not be able to agree with you completely. Sorry for that, because blockbusters, they actually have spent a lot of money on production. Like, the production cost is really high. So I think it's kind of impossible for them to agree with not selling their copyright to streaming platforms like Netflix or Disney Plus. And for Disney Plus themselves, they actually have Disney Plus, like they only they not only stream, but they stream Disney movies on Disney Plus, and also to attract people. So it's quite impossible for them to not sell or not stream their Disney movies on their platform, but just in the cinemas. Well, what I was thinking is, as Michelle mentioned, that cinemas have limited choices compared to streaming platforms. And I was thinking that apart from just having the latest movies showing in the cinema, cinemas could also rescreen very classic movies like Titanic or The Lord of the Rings. And people actually tend to go to these cinemas because of the atmosphere and because of how concentrated and how focused you could be on the movie. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, sure, right. Recently, I just saw that a cinema in Kunho, which is Broadway, is filming somehow older movie, which is Interstellar, and I found it is quite popular because many people still want to rewatch it in the cinema with the huge screen in the cinema, so that it is actually a good idea for cinema to show them past movies so that they can compete with the online streaming services, because we know that streaming services are providing maybe hundreds of thousands of TV shows and movies, so that cinemas should take advantage of the viewing experiences they can provide. So what do you think?
Yes, I do agree that providing more choices of movies can let cinema to compete with movie streaming services. Speaking of those larger variety of choices that can be found on those streaming platforms, I want to talk about the disadvantages of movie streaming services. That the quality of movie actually decreased a lot, as due to the selling points of thousands of movies and TV shows to watch. Netflix actually produced a lot of movies a year. However, they just focus on the quantity but did not focus on the quality. So actually the quality of movies decreased a lot, and this lead to a lot of disappointment of those movie lovers.
Okay, so thank you. So we'll move on. We'll move on to part B, individual response. All right. Right. So Nicole, you have up to 1 minute to answer the following question. Now, what can people learn from watching movies?
Speaking of what people can learn from movies, I believe that people can learn very meaningful lessons from movies. For example, from watching some movie about historical events, people can learn from those historical events so that to learn how to lead to a more peaceful environment in the world and to maintain world peace. And moreover, like from scientific movies, people can learn the importance of being not to give up easily, and learn the significance of the perseverance. And moreover, from some maybe documentary, people can also learn some moral things. So it is actually very educational.
Thank you. All right, Susanna, you have up to 1 minute to answer the following question. Now, what is your most memorable experience of going to the cinema?
If you ask me what is my most memorable experience, I would say it's about half years ago. I watched a movie which is called Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse in the cinema, and I want to say that experience, the movie which is shown on the huge screen in the cinema, is just mesmerizing. The wonderful animation skills, which is a blending of 2D and 3D animations, is just so just widen my eyes, because and with the with the co with intercooperation of the great sound effects, the watching experience is just so good that I can't forget it, and it is a really great experience of movie watching in the cinema.
Okay, thank you. All right, Michelle, you have up to 1 minute to answer the following question. Now, which do you prefer, watching a movie in the cinema or at home?
For me, I prefer watching movies in the cinema, because cinemas usually have a better viewing experience. In the cinema, there are high quality sound systems, large screens, and also comfortable sittings, which allow us to enjoy with an advanced audio and visual technologies. And besides, I do believe that cinemas have some viewing experience which we may not experience or try at home, for example, the 3D experiences. And also, I would prefer watching movies in a cinema because while watching at home, so using streaming services may need or requires a stable and high quality internet connections, and with poor connection, it may lose video and audio quality. So therefore, I prefer watching movies in the cinema.
Okay, thank you. All right, next one is Addison. You have up to 1 minute to answer the following question. Now, do you think movie streaming services make people less social?
I think movie streaming services, to some extent, do make people less social, as watching movies together with your classmates or friends in the cinema is a sort of social event that can bond people together to all extent. People can discuss about the movie when after they have finished the movie, and to gather with their friends and to have dinner or lunch after watching movies. So this is the part that watching movies at home alone can make people less social on streaming apps. However, in another side of the fact that streaming apps provided online chatting services that you can watch movies with your friends, like using Zoom or on Netflix, and discuss them immediately after watching these movies. So it may not necessarily be less social watching on streaming apps.
Okay, thank you. All right, Raquel, you have up to 1 minute to answer the following questions. Do you think movie streaming services will eventually replace cinemas?
I personally don't think streaming activities would replace cinemas, because streaming activities, it's more like a very casual activity you could do at home, while going to the cinema is more like an quite official date that you have with someone else because of the whole atmosphere, and it's just more professional compared to movie streaming apps. And because movie streaming apps don't provide the latest movies. And when people are very curious, they would tend to just go to the cinema and just watch the latest movies instead of wait for them to go on the streaming apps. So I don't think the streaming apps replace cinemas.
Thank you. All right. OK，同學，我想講咧嗱，overall 我快少少啦，我想做多 set 啊。咁咧 overall 嚟講咧，就其實大家嗰個，因為呢個 topic 其實咧都幾好講嘅，因為大家熟嘅，同埋咧就以往嚟講咧，就算呢好似啲即係我自己作為個 teacher 嚟講，覺得幾 OK 容易講嘅 topic 咧，聽一啲同學都講得好唔 OK 嘅。咁但係今次你做得非常之好啊，即係嗰個成個 flow 啊講得幾好。不過就話要個別同學。因為今次有啲同學太活躍啦，即係都一樣，有幾個同學都係咁樣嘅。你要 make sure，就算喺一組咁 active 嘅嘢裏邊，你係好難插針都插唔入嘅，都能夠 squeeze 講 at least 2次。就算你嗰一次講得幾好都好啦，唔會你會令到個 markers 個 exam 好難俾分你。明唔明啊？記住呢樣嘢。我知道有啲同學，譬如話我自己，你俾我啊 ，OK。我如果譬如我去一個 group interview 啊嗰類咧，我嘅表現都唔好㗎，因為我未必可以同人爭到啊。呢個唔係同我嘅ability 有關啊，係純粹總之我唔中意係一個咁環境。不過你要記住你有考試 ，OK？呢個考試對你好緊要，所以一定要逼自己做到，記住呢樣嘢啊。咁我逐個講先啦。我話 Nicole 先咧，Nicole 咧就係你要回應我好欣賞今次好多個同學個 response 真係做到。唔係好多同學做到嘅，出邊冇咩同學做到嘅，個 response 幾好，個 examples 幾好 ，OK，咁你佢尤其是個 1 minute response 咧就做得唔錯，不過有少少咧都係有少少感覺上去開，即係即係喺度 discussion 嘅時候咧，有少少好似有少少 anxious 啊，少少個感覺俾人 anxious 啊，咁可以放少少咯，我冇 OK Nicole。就係咁樣咯，就等自己可以放少少，咁去表現係好啲，就唔使太過緊張嘅，因為始終就係、你越自然少少就好嘅。你記住考試出嚟，如果你可以放自己開嚟，你嗰個你出嚟個表現就一定可以好啲嘅。咁呢個啦。阿 Stanley 咧就係講咧就係嗰個又係我哋個 response 幾好啦，不過相對個 fluency 爭啲 ，fluency 同埋咬字爭啲。如果呢個 fluency 同咬字可以做得好啲咧，就可以再好啲啊。咁咧就係嗰個你去到 1 minute response 咧，嗰個 phrase 咧係 eye opening。OK，eye opening，it's an eye opening experience。譬如話，如果你有去過香港就冇啲咁嘅嘢啦。我見外國嗰啲咧，譬如話 IMAX 嗰啲咧，哇！嗰個銀幕大到你以為你自己係置身其境嘅eye opening experience 咁咯。OK 啊？咁嗰個 ideas 都。你中間講啲 ideas 都唔錯啊。Michelle 你啦，咁咧就係嗰個 response 做得幾好啦，同埋你講啲係 make sense 嘅 ，OK 得唔得？同埋咧就好清晰咧，你係有用到嗰個 input，你係好清晰咁用出嚟嘅，得唔得？嗰唯一就係講多少少 ，OK 講呢樣嘢會即係會一定會對你有幫助嘅，得唔得？咁跟住咧就Edison，咁咧嗱，你做 introduction 嗰個啦，咁你開得 OK 噶。不過你喺 introduction 裏邊咧，你講多咗，因為可能我知你好中意 cinema，好中意睇戲啊，你就帶多咗，可能喺第2至第3個開始講間戲院嗰啲 point 出嚟嘅。咁其實就係第一個 point，我哋只不過問你咧，係咪一個 popular pastime 就唔係好 technically 問你啲戲院啊，入邊有啲乜嘢啊，點吸引觀眾啊咁樣，你就好似講多咗啲嗰邊嘢咯。咁就個 intonation 你有進步嘅，比之前個 speed OK 啦。咁咧就係另外咧就係第二個 point OK，不過第二個 point 咧就你嗰啲 make 個 point 咧就係變咗就會引嚟，譬如話開始就哎呀，有人唔同意你喎，咁樣喎，咁都 OK 嘅，佢人帶起個 discussion 得唔得？咁樣唔錯啊。咁Raquel 咁咧就係話啦，你咁你就你嗰個所有嘅 response，你俾人覺得個個同學都有 response，但係你嗰個 response 咧，俾人覺得好 genuine 嘅，即係真係好似我有啲嘢想講，明唔明啊？我真係好似我真係想講，譬如話，你覺得唔 make sense，我覺得嗰樣嘢，而係我聽你講嘢個感覺上就好似你聽緊你個人個對戲院嘅意見，就唔似話一個好似去 一個 discussion 嘅環境，你好似真係講緊自己嘅嘢咁樣嘅。咁咧就係不過有樣嘢注意啊，你第一次講嘢，你自己覺得有冇問題啊？首輪發言 first attempt，你覺得自己有冇問題啊？
我覺得兩個 attempt 都係即係棘棘地咯。
唔係，呢個唔係一個問題，你冇呢個問題，冇呢個問題，你個問題太短，你應該講長啲，因為第一次係第一個 first impression，明唔明啊？
但係因為前面Edison 嗰度差唔多講咗2分鐘之
喂啊，
後，
你考試唔好顧呢樣嘢，記唔記得我講乜嘢？你記住，你唔係嗱，記住啊！你個身份咧，你係一個 candidate，你係去考試，你去攞分，你唔係一個做 arrangement 嘅人，明唔明我意思？你唔係做一個主持人，記唔記得我意思？OK，你咁樣咧會影響咗你自己，所以你要講多啲。咁即係話，即係嗱，咁即係用咗差唔多2分鐘，但係你可以借機，咁我哋去再 summarize 人哋嗰啲人，然後你帶下個 point 都得嘅，明唔明啊？如果你覺得時間唔夠，如果時間或者問嘅話，我哋都差唔多講完第一個，咁可以類似咁樣，即係睇情況啊，睇嗰時情況。但我個感覺好強嘅感覺就你講得唔夠咯。咁但係就唔需要去就其他人嘅，明唔明啊？但亦都唔好過籠。OK 啊，不過講翻 Edison 啦，你第一次講嘅時候咧，有少少長過頭，最尾後尾講嘅其實冇乜需要噶啦，明唔明啊？有少少俾人個感覺好似再揾啲嘢講咁樣。明唔明啊？我覺得嗰度你好 OK 噶啦，唔需要噶啦。嗰個就變咗就會俾人覺得好似有少少好似揾嘢講咁樣啊。咁 OK，都冇講就講呢度，你寧願留翻下一個 point 先講，好唔 OK？就咁樣啦。有冇問題？好，我哋嗱聲講第二個啦。OK，做多個，因為有同學就要跟住都要考試嘅，咁啊做 set two 啦。set two 我頭先好似記得我冇記錯1嚟嘅，一 OK 嘅。睇先啊，我睇下係咪先啊。一定係2咧，係咪先？OK，呢個幾好講嘅呢個。呢個咧我唔講住啊，等你講先啊。然後我之後講少少意見啦。好，呢度 send 咗出嚟啦，同埋Daniel 我 send 埋俾你。好10 minutes starting now。10 minutes。 Okay, so are you ready? Okay, so you now have 10 minutes for your discussion, and you may now begin.
So, good afternoon, everyone. As our school has proposed a policy not to allow teachers and students to be friends on social media, as we all know that social media has been very popular throughout these years, especially among teenage students in our school. So, we shall discuss the proposal of whether we agree or disagree about this proposal. So, to kickstart it, why students like to connect with their teachers on social media? In my opinion, students basically just want to learn more about their teachers, such as what they like to do in their free time or more about their personal life, instead of just knowing them as a teacher in their school. So they can build a special bonding between teachers and students, and they can be friends with them. Another reason will be some students may want to ask their teachers about all sorts of academic related questions on social media. So teachers are able to solve their problems even after school. So what are your thoughts?
I agree with you that
Yes.
people would like to ask about academic problems because compared to email, social media is definitely a more convenient and more efficient and effective platform for the students to communicate with the teachers. And the teachers could be able to give replies very quickly. And I personally have followed a few teachers on my Instagram, and I think it's because of curiosity. I'm curious what they are like after work, like not being my teacher, like what do they have to do, what do they do in their private life. What are your opinions?
Yes, you're right. Social media provide real-time immediate conversation so that you can ask academic questions and get the answer immediately. But most of all, I think what's the why people like to connect with their teachers on social media, like Instagram, is because their career, their because of their careers of their personal lives. For example, I'm using Instagram, and some of my teachers, especially the young teachers, also have the Instagram accounts. When our classmates maybe they will ask his or her, what is your IG account? They will give an account which is they open as a teacher, not their personal account. And sometimes they may show some pictures or photos of they maybe having lunch or dinner with their families and friends or colleagues or even alumni or past students. Then we may open new conversations and ask who's that, and then is what are you eating or what are you enjoying? What is your activity? And most of all, Instagram provide functions like stories and posts so that you can share your photos, or even you can share your thoughts on some news media or some hot topics that go viral on internet or some reels so that our classmates can get to know to their personal lives and interests or somehow what you do in leisure time so that they can open new conversation and become more close to the teachers instead of the face-to-face conversation you would have at school instead of just academic results or reports or schoolwork so that you can get closer to your teachers. So what is your idea?
Yes, I'm with all of you. I agree that social media provide a platform that allows teachers or students to share their private lives so that students can understand their teachers more beyond the confine of classrooms. And besides, social media have a higher accessibility as well as to enhance the communication between students themselves with the teachers because social medias provide an easy and convenient way for students to communicate with the teachers outside classroom, for example, allowing students to ask questions or like discuss about the assignments easily with teachers through social medias. I think it is helpful for students who are shy or hesitate to approach teachers in personal during school days. So I think this is the reason why students like to connect with the teachers on social media.
Yes, I do agree that students are actually just simply curious about their teacher practice life, and they will also like to build a stronger bonding with the teachers. However, there's also some problems leading to connecting with teachers on social media. The first problem is bias issue, as it is obvious to see that when a student become more friend with a teacher, the teacher may bias the students, and it may lead to some discrimination and inequality in lesson. Also, the problems also related to the content posted by the teachers in social media. Sometimes the teacher may post like wearing swimming suits or gym clothes or some sexy photos that is really inappropriate for students to watch. So it may ruin the reputation of the school or even the teachers.
Yes, I totally agree with you. If some teachers are showing some inappropriate content in their IG accounts, they may harm the reputation of not only themselves as a teachers, but also their schools. Moreover, although our schools are already stated clearly on the school rules that teachers or students should not post their photos of their students in uniforms or as teachers while working in working sites with our school on social media, but sometimes our teachers and classmates are also crossing the line. So that students may disclose their face and identity on social media, which leads to privacy concerns.
Well, I very agree with all of your ideas about problems concerning this issue, which students and teacher may end up having some inappropriate relationships or even harming the reputation of the school. So in my personal experience, I actually had a friend who has been connecting with a teacher of his opposite sex on Instagram, and eventually my friend misunderstood that teacher and thought that they could develop some sort of romantic relationship, which ended up both of them receiving a warning letter from the school. In this example, we can see that problems connecting with teachers on social media could be devastating, that students and teachers misunderstood each other and eventually developing some inappropriate relationships. Moreover, I think this issue is more about parental concerns, as some parents does not want to see their children being too close with their teachers and develop some sort of inappropriate or even romantic relationships with them. So this is more like a traditional thought that teachers should be strict and should be a role model for their students, while not a friend for their students. So this is all I think about this issue. Are there any
I
ideas
agree.
about this?
I agree with you that people may tend to cross the line and have these romantic feelings, especially when the student is of a younger age. They often have quite a lot of romantic feelings towards the teacher. And another issue I think is because like it actually exposes a lot of the teacher's private life, and sometimes I think too much of the teacher's private life, and actually like people gossip about their lives at school, and I don't think that is quite positive to the teachers themselves. And it's also mentioned like parents don't agree with their children being friends with teachers online. And to be honest, I think if parents have control over their child's Instagram, it's more likely to be the juniors. And I think, to be honest, senior students actually know what to do and what not to do, and they could manage themselves and control themselves better than the junior students. So I think our major concern would be about the junior students, which is also why I think this policy that our school proposed should be focusing and targeting the junior students instead of everyone. What's your opinions?
Yes, despite all those concerns, I do agree that actually teachers and students can be friends on social media. However, the teachers have to keep the distance and not to cross the line so that teachers and students can form a stronger bond, leading to a more harmonious learning environments at school, and students can also ask some academic related questions on social media.
I think that's about it for today's discussion. Let's talk about it later.
Okay, thank you. So we move on to the part B, individual response. So first, Nico, you have up to 1 minute to answer the following question. Now, should schools teach students how to use social media safely?
Yes, I agree that schools should teach students how to use social media properly, especially for junior students. As we can see from the news, there's of scams on social media. That maybe some people may pretend they are your classmates and they ask you for your school uniform, and so that you can sell your school uniform to them. Actually, but those students may not know and really do this thing. And so that the school actually have the responsibility to teach students how to identify your classmates and teachers on social media so that they won't mix up, won't lead to some illegal action. And teachers also need to teach students that they should not post some photos of their private lives or expose their privacy on social media so that they won't be being stalked by some.
Okay, thank you. All right, Susanna, you have up to 1 minute to answer the following question. Why do you think Instagram is so popular?
If you ask me why Instagram is so popular, so just as I said in the discussion, in social medias like Instagram become popular because they have some functions like stories and reels and posting functions, so that you can share your photos with your families and friends, so that you can show others your life, show others your interests and what you do in leisure time, and so that's to promote the real-time conversation and to promote your interpersonal relationships with others or even strangers. Even though you don't know them, but you can see their pictures posted on the Instagram, and you know what are they doing, what are they eating, and who are your friends, and so that they can enhance their relationships and have more conversations and more topics to get on. So that's why Instagram is so popular nowadays.
Okay, thank you. Michelle, you have up to 1 minute to answer the following question. Now, should parents monitor their children's friends on social media?
I do not think that parents should monitor students about making friends on social media because they do have the freedom to choose which people to connect with, as well as what kind of people to make friends with. But I think that parents should remind students about what they should post on social media, as well as how to communicate with those people they met on social media, because they may not understand the backgrounds of others, as well as whether their information posting on social media is real. Therefore, I think that parents should remind students to beware and not to trust everything about the friends on social media, but they should not monitor what friends they make.
Okay, thank you. All right, Edison, you have up to 1 minute to answer the following question. Does social media negatively affect your learning?
Well, personally, I don't think that social media has any negative effects on my learning, as I myself, as a secondary school student, actually have not used social media that much. So I don't think social media has posed any negative effects, such as me spending too much time in chatting with my friends or only posting stories or photos of my personal life on the social media. And but I do think that social media has some negative effects on people's learning, as people tends to spend too much time chatting with their friends for all sorts of things, but not studying. However, I myself use social medias to connect with my friends to discuss about academic stuff such as past paper questions or even some study tips. So it actually boosts my academic efficiency.
Okay, thank you. All right, Raquel, you have up to 1 minute to answer the following questions. Now, should schools monitor their students' social media activities?
I think definitely not, because I think social media is classified as a very, very private space. And I think schools should not be able to control what their students do on social media, because that is actually just personal freedom. And the school is actually just in charge of the students in school learning. And while the social media issue is more like an at school, like after school activity, after school space for the students. So unless the students are actually doing something too inappropriate and bringing like bad influence to the school, for example, doing something illegal while wearing your school uniform and posting it online, I don't think the school has the right to control what the students do on social media. Yeah, that is all I would like to share.
Okay, right. Okay, and then OK，同學，咁呢個 topic 咧同頭先嗰個唔同嘅，頭先嗰個咧係相對實在啲，講戲院，講呢個 Netflix，講呢個 Disney Plus 咧，就變咗嗰個好過呢個。呢個相對咧好嗱，好簡單，一睇開頭就知㗎啦。開頭冇人想開始，因為呢個咧就有少少困難咁樣啦。咁我逐個講先啦。咁首先阿力 Q 你先啦。咁咧就係嗱個 response 幾好啊。咁咧就係話啦，不過咧嗱，你到你講嘢嗰次嘅時候咧，其實你講講你係 move 咗下一個 topic 嘅，係咪？你本來講緊第一個就 move to problem 嗰度嘅。如果你下次咁樣嘅話咧，你可以做一個好 briefly 嘅 summary。Well, I think we have all covered the ideas for the first item. Maybe we can move on to the second one about the problems connecting with teachers on social media. First, my idea is that 咁樣中間加少少嘢。話俾人聽呢樣嘢，知唔知啊？咁樣，咁咧另外咧就係話咁同埋不過你好識得用入邊嗰個原本上邊個 text 嗰啲 content 去 support 你，咁呢個幾好。不過都係啦，盡量爭取早少少講嘢。我呢組嗱，我想講我哋而家今日呢個 combination， 我哋呢一班 combination 就你行出去就唔係好多見嘅。出邊4個考生通常係1至2個係會 active 咯。係咁樣嘅咯，3個 active 嘅情況都唔係好多嘅。咁而家差唔多呢班係個個都有 active 咧，咁更加少有嘅，所以就係難爭啲。我知道呢個現實係咁樣，不過都有咁嘅機會㗎，出到去咁樣㗎，知唔知啊？咁Stanley 咧就係今次你比上次 fluent 咗比第一次 fluent 咗，個 elaboration 幾好。OK 中間個字係 inappropriate 咁講嘢係係到你熟嗰啲嘢咧，就相對就 fluent 啲。到你後尾有啲講啲嘢冇咁好似爭啲，又冇咁熟，或者可能你講成段嘢講到尾嘅時候就會爭少少啦。OK 得唔得？我都要快少少，因為我跟住3點上堂啦。Michelle，咁咧我見你今次咧就好想好快講嘢，不過俾人斬斷咗。咁樣就嗰個 attempt 幾好。咁咧就你 Michelle，我想要讚你就話你講啲 ideas 咧就係其實好 sensible， 講啲嘢就俾人覺得好似即係好清晰 present 啲 ideas 出嚟個感覺係咁樣。不過就係話喺呢組就變咗好似有啲困難啊，可以有陣時可能轉頭俾人講咗，咁或者俾人哋講咗到你講嘅時候，可能已經俾人窒咗一次㗎啦，咁樣變咗可能會爭啲。咁我見你今次比上次會 active 啲，咁係好嘅，得唔得？好啦，跟住咧就Edison 咧，我想講咧，係咪今次 topic 爭啲啊？比你上次嗰個喺你嚟講，
唔係今次我特登講少啲嘢。
我哋得講少啲 ，OK。咁個 introduction
同埋個 introduction 嗰度，其實我諗住我講咗咁多次，諗住睇下其他人會唔會講下咁樣，跟住點知冇人講。咁所以
就呢個就考試就要準備咯。都有機會真係有啲人去到嗰組幾個，如果幾個尤其是你出到去咧，嗰啲真係 嗰啲係 Band Two 尾啊，Band Two 尾都仲 OK，Band Three 啊，中文中學啊，去到 Band Three 中下嗰啲有嗰啲學生咧，直頭真係唔夠膽出聲㗎，佢淨係識講 yes I agree with you 嘅咋。咁嗰啲咧，咁如果你撞咗兩三個嗰啲人咧，咁你真係要開始你要做 leader 㗎啦。如果去到咁樣，咁你咧就嗰個 introduction 幾好，嗰個 contribution 都唔錯。咁咧你用個 personal example 講你頭先嗰個例子係咪真嘅？我想問。
係真嘅，係真嘅，係。
warning letter，咁你又知佢哋學校同你講話，老師都收到 warning letter，學校都
唔係老師收 warning letter 嗰個假嘅，個學生係收 warning letter，因為
OK，
我要 dramatic 少少咁，所以
OK，
所以作大少少。
OK，係咁啊，咪喂嗱講開呢個問題，你知唔知香港你慣咧？譬如你有老師嘅 WhatsApp 有嗰啲咩啦，OK 學校嗰啲好，即係唔係個個，但係我相信好多老師都有。而家有時新啲嘅老師都俾 WhatsApp 你啊，或者你有佢 IG 啊，喺英國唔得嘅，完全唔準，係唔準，知唔知點解？唔準啊！因為咧喺英國好
因為
強調
太多嗰啲嘢。
係佢好強調叫 safeguarding，因為佢係成年人，相對一個 teenagers，OK，就費事 真係 cross to line，所以咧就唔想咁樣，就直頭唔好噶。所以啲老師同學生嘅上堂關係好得意嘅，一落堂就拜拜噶啦，冇噶，唔會有任何其他嘢噶啦。OK，所以你突然間見到如果見到個老師同個學生突然間話會出嚟會飲杯咖啡，哇，就好恐怖
大夫
啦。
Sir，我 make 呢個 personal preference 係得唔得？定係離題？定係即係我咁樣講會唔會有啲奇怪？但係
唔會，
我覺得係合理嘅，我覺得係喺呢個 topic 上。
你講邊個 point 先
即係我嗰個 story 啊，都唔係 story，
？OK
我
OK
嗰個
OK
experience。
OK，我見我冇睇錯 Raquel 喺度笑緊嘛？你咪笑緊佢呢樣嘢，Raquel 你咪笑緊佢呢樣定係另一樣嘢？
係，
係
因為我哋學
咯。
校都有過。
OK，唔係好多名校都有㗎，好多出過好多事啊。最嚴重就係當年啦，就係最嚴重幾單嘢咧，就當年我驚你細個嗰頭啊，當年莊啟程出過好嚴重，爆晒上嚟，相都出晒上連登。莊啟做副校同一個學生出晒啲相出嚟。咪啲相冇乜嘢嘅，着住衫嘅大家。不過就即係，但係你覺得嗰兩個唔係一個老師同學生關係咯，變咗情侶關係咯。一睇張相就睇到噶啦，冇啲好嚴重嘅嘢咁跟住啦，另外講翻你先，你用個 personal example 幾好啦咁樣啦，嗰啲 ideas 好 sensible。你可以同學可以學下 Raquel 咁咧，就佢 discussion 嘅時候咧。我相信你都係嘅，你係即係你 take it 唔係，即係佢所謂嘅 take it personal 啊！你真係好似喺度同人討論緊呢樣嘢，你好有興趣講嘅，而你講嗰啲嘢係真係一個你嘅 experience 又好，你想講出嚟又好，咁俾人覺得你好想 discuss 啊！咁一個感覺係幾好嘅。咁咧個 one minute response 就講得又講得唔錯啦。不過今次相對就比頭先少啲啲。可能你或者你同 Edison 因為你想俾唔想講太多 dominant 嗰頭啦，俾啲嘢其他人講咁樣咯。咁但係就即係我見你個 discussion 你係好個感覺係似一個好真嘅 discussion 咯。咁其他人我先講清楚啊。我講呢句唔係話其他人嗰啲唔夠真，咁但係佢嗰俾人覺得再突顯出嚟啲，即係你覺得佢譬如好似頭先笑嗰下。就反映到啦，你笑嗰下，你咪就係話你覺得係好係咁樣咁。其實你如果真係考試佢哋可以 follow 講翻嘅。Well, actually, my school have something similar。又唔需要講得太 saucy。咁但係你可以咁帶，即係未必係呢個 topic 啊。但係如果你有個咁樣，你係可以駁落去講噶，咁係更加好。明唔明啊？就係咁咯。好，同學，喂，唔得啦，我晏啲 send 翻俾你，因為我3點上堂啦。咁我哋今日到呢度，好冇？OK。咁我晏啲 send 翻，晏啲我上完呢兩堂，我仲有兩堂嘅，我先再 send 翻頭先嗰啲你嗰個成績俾你睇，好冇？好，同學，拜拜啦，
拜
拜拜，
拜。
拜拜，拜拜，拜拜，拜拜，拜拜。